this year against the Dodgers and went 8.1 innings, 4 earned runs, and got the win 5-4. He was pretty even when it comes to fly ball outs versus ground ball outs, which is always a good sign considering that he is a primary curveball pitcher. You would expect mostly fly ball outs, but if a lot of the Dodgers hitters are doing both, then that kind of is a little odd. But regardless, and I think not having Max Muncy is going to be a big deal because that's lefty-righty against a curveball pitcher. That just really matters to me. Like not having Max Muncy, who people said could have won MVP this year, versus a guy who throws straight curveballs. I mean, you're talking about a guy that, like, please, for the love of God, don't hang one against Max Muncy. That's who that is against.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Cody Bellinger isn't that guy this year. I'm sorry. He's just not. Max Muncy is that guy this year. So it's a little tough. But, like, Scherzer has also pitched a lot, I'm sure, against the Cardinals across his career. So it's different. But this Cardinals team, to me, is just a little different compared to the Cardinals teams in the past, where they have been much more consistent. Now, his last appearance, I believe, against the Cardinals, he pitched September 6th against the Cardinals and went 8 innings and gave up 1 earned run. No, sorry, 1 run, not even earned run. So yeah, but like, it's freaking Max Scherzer. I mean, what do you expect?
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
In my opinion, he's the best pitcher in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And he, like, in my opinion, he has been.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be tough to face him, but I kind of like that we haven't hit him this year because I feel like if we did hit him, we weren't going to, like, because you don't hit Scherzer like that ever. Like, he if you're ever going to hit it on him, it's going to be one time out of, like, the 7 or 8 times you face him. So I kind of like that we haven't hit him this year because I just feel like we're due for that. And I don't know. We seem when we are the underdogs to play really well and upset some teams when we aren't expected to, especially to this magnitude with it being the Dodgers and them winning 106 games. So
the thing you fear as a Yankees fan, though, is Scherzer going 8 innings, or as a Cardinals fan, right? Like that's the thing you fear.
That's the thing. Like if he's on, like you gotta at least make him work. Like take pitches. Like and who knows, he might throw everything as a strike, but whatever. Like you gotta take pitches. You gotta make him work. You gotta try to get him out by the 6th. That's your hope. Like get to the bullpen. Maybe score a run or 2 against them and be like and have it be tied or maybe you're in the lead. But yeah, that's the hope is to get him out by that 6th inning so you can get to the bullpen at least.
Yeah.
I don't know. We want to get to the bullpen as quickly as possible. You know, I mean the Dodgers do, not we. We do actually as Cardinals fans. Here, I'll say that for this temporary time. But man, they've got to get the bullpen too. So yeah, they don't. The Dodgers are one of the weirdest teams and one of the weirdest playoff streaks, whatever. Just because we're talking about a 100-win team against when the Braves, who all respect due to the Braves, have won 88 games. And if you're a Dodgers fan, you got to be annoyed by it. But I can ask you guys much more questions about this. I'll just ask a simple: do you think that the wild card game should be, hey, let's make it a 3-game playoff in the future, or no, this is what's great about baseball right now. Why keep messing with things? We didn't even have the wild card game 10 years ago, right? So just leave it how it is. This doesn't happen all that often. What do you think either way?
I think they should seed it.
Okay.
Like, so realistically or hypothetically this year, the Braves would be the 6th seed and playing in the wild card game.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I can definitely get the point of how it's unfair I guess, for a team like the Dodgers to be the have the second best overall record in the National League and be playing in this wild card game. But then again, like you have the division. They didn't win the division. The Giants were one game better than them. So,
and they've also paid $100 million more.
Right. So, like, I'm sitting here thinking, like, yeah, it sucks, but they literally.
Am I supposed to feel sympathy for the Dodgers? Are you kidding me?
No. I'm saying, like,
just in general.
Yeah. Any team, I don't feel bad for the Dodgers whatsoever. I'm just saying, if anyone, if it's the Braves, if it's the Yankees, Red Sox, it sucks to have to play that wild card game. But hell no, they went and spent all that money. They traded for Scherzer. They traded for Trey Turner. They still couldn't be better than that Giants team. Like, that's sucks for you. That's what MLB has right now. Do I think MLB should keep it to this? They could probably switch it around a bit, but I mean, I say screw it. Leave it how it is, and maybe next time win the division, and then you guys can maybe get your 5-game series.
Yeah, and I think that's the beautiful thing about baseball is because you genuinely have no idea who could win.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's cool because, like, I feel like in some other sports, like, you just know the favorites are just going to be there at the end and, you know, what happens. But baseball, wild card team can win that first game and get to the championship. I mean, the Nationals 2 years ago, they did it. So,
yeah.
They knocked off the Dodgers that year, too.
Fair enough. All right. Well, we got to talk about, of course, the Braves. Braves Brewers. Jake, you're the Braves fan, so I'll let you lead this one off. How do you feel? What's your prediction?
I don't have a prediction because I genuinely don't know. You've got Charlie Morton going up against Corbin Burns, who I think should probably win the NL Cy Young this year. But Charlie Morton has also probably been, if you were to pick a sleeper Cy Young this year, he would probably be Charlie Morton. And then you've got Max Fried going up against who I'm going to guess, and Alexi, correct me if I'm wrong, the number 2 pitcher this year would probably be Freddie Peralta for the Brewers.
I'd say, well, him or Woodruff, I would say.
Woodruff, yeah. It'll be one of those 2 guys against Max Fried. But Max Fried also had like a 1.5 ERA and was 3-0 in September. So I genuinely don't know. Like, the Braves could win both of those games in Milwaukee. I'm not necessarily afraid of Milwaukee as an away site, but if I'm just looking at pure, no Braves tinted glasses, unbiased, objective, all the words you want to use, I do think the Braves win 3-2. And a big reason is because the Brewers don't have Devin Williams.
That's a very key piece they're missing. Yeah, this is a very, I think this is a very even series in my opinion from what I've seen. But I think if the Brewers are playing the way they've played the last couple weeks, I think the Braves got them because I watched the Cardinals play them a lot, so I've seen them a good amount. I don't know. Their offense just doesn't impress me. The Brewers' offense, like, Yelich isn't the same Yelich he was 2-3 years ago. And behind him, I mean, if you think of, like, big names, you don't really see it. Like, Willy Adames, like, whatever. And then they got
Eduardo Escobar has been underwhelming since he got there.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, they definitely have the pitching. The starting pitching is unbelievable. If those guys can shut your offense down, you're going to be in any game.
Yeah.
But I think the Braves have the edge because they have the overall offense. They have the pitching. And yeah, that, like you mentioned, Devin Williams is a huge piece they're missing. Like, if they had him, I probably would give them the Brewers the edge, probably because they have a better bullpen. But losing that kind of guy is huge. And yeah, I think the Braves. Kudos to the Braves. Look at the Braves. Look what they've done without Acuna. I mean, everyone thought that was a lost season when he went down. Like, most Braves fans probably were like, "Wow, like, this sucks. Like, Acuna's down. Like, yeah, we might make the playoffs, but whatever." I mean, just to see how they did and answered when Acuna went down, that's pretty cool. Austin Riley
and
a lot too.
I will say, like, the Braves' offensive lineup, I think, is objectively better than the Brewers' offensive lineup. And if you look at it, I mean, Soler, he comes out, he has a 269 batting average since he got to the Braves, and he has a 358 on base percentage. Mind you, this is a guy we traded for that had like a negative WAR coming in on the year, and he has a positive WAR since joining the Braves. So, I like that's different because, like, you can throw Corbin Burns out there, that's fine, but it's like, okay, we'll throw Adam Duvall, Eddie Rosario, and Jorge Soler out there as our three outfielders, and then you have to deal with our infield, and it's like, yeah, good luck. Because Soler will go out there and be 6'4", 250 pounds and take 8 pitches in the first at bat. And so I think that's where the hard part is. And then, like, Eddie Rosario is weird because he'll go out and, like, hit a cycle against the Giants, not play for 4 days, and then go hit 2 home runs. Like, it doesn't make any sense how their offense works, but it does. And they have the ability right now to where they can do it against pitching. They have 2 very good righties. They have Adam Duvall and Jorge Soler. Adam Duvall is leading the NL in home runs and RBIs. And then Jorge Soler has just been, he has, I believe it is a 1.0 WAR since joining the Braves, which was July. So he's played for us for like a month. And a guy that was seemingly incapable of doing anything defensively is just absolutely crushing the ball. And he's getting on base too. Like, he's not your prototypical leadoff hitter. And then it's like, okay, now you have to deal with Austin Riley, Freddie Freeman, Ozzie Albies, and Dansby Swanson, who are only the second team ever to hit over 25 home runs as an infield for each player. So it's tough. It really is. But again, like Alexi said, that Brewers offense, I have no clue. Or that Brewers or pitching staff, I don't know what they're going to bring. Like, because if they trot out Josh Hader for 3 innings, like, yeah, we lose.
Yeah. I mean, Alexi, what are you thinking here? I'll leave it to you.
Yeah.
I don't know that much about the Braves, to be honest.
No, you're good. I do love those moves they made at the deadline because they needed to get some outfielders, and they traded. Did they trade for Duvall this year? Is that right?
Duvall, Soler, and Rosario. Yeah.
Soler, and they traded. I like to trade for Jock Peterson too. I think that was a little sneaky.
And Jock Peterson.
Yeah. So I mean, I love the moves they made. I think that helped them get to this point. Like I said, the starting pitching can match up with the Brewers with Fried, Morton, Anderson. I mean, they can throw those guys right at you, and that's why I think it's so even, is because those three can just be can make that series as close as possible. Like I said, the edge I give the Braves, or this series is to the Braves, is that offense. I think the offense is just better. The Brewers, like I said, the last 2 weeks, they didn't impress me too much, and I think with the Braves having a little bit more postseason experience the last couple of years can really help. They were just in the NLCS last year, lost to the Cardinals. I know the year before that, but they gave us a fight, so they know where they're at and what they can do. I'll say the Braves. My prediction is Braves in 4. That's my prediction.
Okay. Yeah, we call it the 4 for 4 in Atlanta because nobody else can beat us.
Oh, is that why? Because you guys are that good at baseball.
4 division titles in a row again. I believe it was 13 in a row. Is that right? I think it was 13 NL East titles in a row.
Yeah, like 13
at the time. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. So now, are we doing a?
Well, we'll move there to the Astros.
The pity me Astros.
Well, hang on a second. Hang on. We gotta rephrase that a little bit. All right. We're being joined here and second by an actual Astros fan. So you guys got to chill out a little bit. Alexi, I got to say, I appreciate the background of the Cardinals stuff here.
It's
Very
good.
on point.
Yeah,
You know,
I have a
Jake,
podcast about these two guys on here.
I don't know what cities you have, Jake, but
I have Seoul, South Korea is right here. What is this one? San Diego, California. See you next year. And Charleston, South Carolina is right here. So my girlfriend was born in Seoul, South Korea. San Diego is where we are ultimately moving, and Charleston is where I was born. So there you go. That's your.
You said you're eventually moving?
Yeah, we are. I believe we are moving over the summer.
Oh, yeah? Where did you say?
San Diego.
Oh, San Diego. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's cool.
So you say Braves in 4.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we jump on either Corbin Burns or Brandon Woodruff early?
Yeah, I think that's the key. I think what they'll do is they'll get to one of them. So as long if they split one of those, I think they win the next 2 at home.
Okay.
I think they would probably maybe not Burns. I could see them jumping on Woodruff or Peralta, whoever they're throwing in game 2. That's who I could see them jumping on and stealing a game from. I always love starting on the road because you can win one of those 2 games and then you take it home and you're split and you can take the next 2 or whatever. I always love starting on the road, actually.
It was funny because the Braves' record against the Brewers this year was 3-3.
Really? Huh.
Yeah. And I think the ERA was like the Brewers had like a 3.4 ERA and the Braves had like a 3.2 ERA.
Wow.
It was like something super insane where it's these teams probably should be closer than where they are.
Yeah, it should definitely be a good series. I think it'll be it's super even.
Outside of the next one that we're about to talk about, I think it'll probably be the best series.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that they're playing it at like freaking 4:00.
Yeah. I know. That's another thing. Like, I know we'll get into other stuff, but I hate that they start playoff games like early weekdays, like 1:00 or 3, 4, whatever time it is. It's so stupid.
I'm trying to go. So go ahead, Calvin. Let's run this.
Well, I think so. Now joining us, of course, is Patrick McDermott, who I can slide
Patrick.
in or not, whatever.
How we doing, guys?
Oh gosh, with the
He
crystal
sounds
clear
great.
audio.
He sounds great.
Oh yeah. So Patrick's the Astros fan. I know the one. I only know one.
Can
Astros
confirm.
fan.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm sure he hates having the Oklahoma State flag in the background. Not really caring about the Thunder one.
No.
But of course, went to UT. So, anyways, I got to ask you.
5 in a row. 5 in a row against Texas.
Well, okay. Well,
we'll see him
in
on the
Texas.
16th.
In Texas. Although, no, actually, we're not. They beat us back-to-back years.
Yeah, I may want
the last 2 years, Texas has beaten us.
Yeah,
in football.
Like,
Oh, they have?
I would too if I was. If my players had a salary, we also would too.
All right. So clearly, we will have bigger issues to discuss here later on,
We
Jake.
can unpack that another time.
Yeah, for sure. When you guys are saying, you hate day game baseball, us in the Pacific time zone who are not used to it, at least I'm not used to it as of recently. I know you grew up in Seattle. I got to say, it's horrible. I mean, just like you've got this Cardinals-Dodgers game at 5 tomorrow, and it's going to be rough. I mean, it's a tough thing to deal with.
And to bring it back to college football, I mean, that's the worst about the West Coast is the noon slate of college football games starting at 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning. Brutal.
Let me ask you this. How bad can sports all day be? And then at like 10 o'clock, you get to watch like Hawaii and Fresno State literally every week.
It's not for the week, but yes, if you can handle it, it's fantastic. Yeah.
I mean, it's great if like, I don't know, I went out on a Saturday night, because everything will be wrapping up by then or a Friday, whatever. But it's
Calvin,
annoying.
I'd like it because I don't sleep.
Well, that's my point. It's annoying when I don't normally do that, and I don't. So it's just everything's over by the time it hits 9 o'clock at night. It's like, okay. Like the night game we went to see UCLA play Arizona. Also, UCLA probably not the greatest at football after that game.
Confirmed not good.
Confirmed, confirmed not great.
It ended at like 1:30 Eastern time, and I watched the whole game.
Which props to you there.
I don't know if that's a good thing.
Hey, got all the college football game in. Also, a London game. NFL's just quickly 1 second here. NFL's has a London game on. It's at 6:30 Pacific this Sunday.
I hope I'm asleep.
I'll be watching 1 minute of it.
Falcons.
Well, it's at 9:30 Eastern. You might be up by then.
Not too bad.
I don't think anyone wants
You'll
to watch
catch the end of it.
Atlanta versus the Jets, right?
Yeah, we're not.
Yes, I'm gonna go on like
All-time
a
dumpster
walk.
fire.
I'm gonna go on a walk or something. How about that? I'll go like do wood shop, then watch the Falcons Jets at Wembley. Are they playing at Wembley?
It's either Wembley or Tottenham, whatever their partnership is. I don't remember.
Wembley is the old Tottenham Stadium, and
there you go.
Tottenham. Yeah, I hate Tottenham, so I'm just gonna it'll be a dumpster fire whether they're playing football or American football.
Either way.
Boom.
But anyways,
roasted.
boom. Well, here, so I did bring Patrick on, as of course the Astros fan, as I introduced him with, to ask you guys, ask all of you, how do you feel about the Astros versus White Sox series? Because we're just going to stick, at least for right now, just the first round of the playoffs. We'll move back to the second round of the playoffs once we get past it, past the first round, of course. But
Patrick, are you asking us to stay within the series and not within any other series that happened in previous years?
Not at all. Let's talk about it all. I mean, frankly, nobody's going to out-hit the Astros. Like that's just where it's at. I mean, they're the best offensive team in baseball in many major categories, not all of them. In fact, we don't hit the long ball as well as some other teams. But I mean, nobody's going to out-hit us, especially in the last like 4 or 5 weeks. We've got like 7 guys hitting over 300 during that span. It's incredible. Like, we can dive into it, but I do think this is a series the Astros win, although it wouldn't shock me if it went 5 games.
And you're also getting, I know, like, you get the DH pretty much every game, but you're also getting the DH up until you play in the World Series, if you get that far.
Yeah,
which still matters to that point. Yeah, I mean, the Astros are basically a Big 12 team with above average pitching.
I don't disagree with that. Yeah, throw them in like a Texas Tech OSU game, and they're just going to hit the equivalent of home runs or 80-yard passes. You know,
they'll hit the over.
That's vintage Oklahoma State. Not this year, not because our defense does stuff, but because our offense can't do much. But yeah,
correct. So permission to throw a few facts out there.
Go for
it. A few figures.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
So,
go for it.
So these are not American League stats. This is all of Major League Baseball. The Astros lead in batting average, RBIs, runs scored, and on base percentage.
Okay.
And the only pitching figure that they are exceptional at is batting average against, which they're 3rd in the majors. A lot of that due to starting pitching. Our bullpen has been a little bit up and down, although recently it's been better, despite being young. And obviously we had like big trade deadline pickups.
Could it be because you got one of the best relief pitchers from the same division?
Yeah.
Could it be?
I mean, he's been lights out. He blew one game like really badly, but other than that, he's been like as advertised for sure.
Yeah.
Now the flip side, and I don't know if either of you guys is a White Sox fan. But like
more than the Astros.
Yeah. I mean, I hope so. Yeah, I don't blame you. But fun fact for those who really don't watch White Sox baseball, Craig Kimbrell is a White Sox.
A weird trade deadline move. Didn't move his house or anything. Just literally moved to just across the city for his team.
Yeah, a bizarre and they got rid of what's his face Madrigal to do so. That was
very odd
trade. Biggest, agreed. Yeah, that was maybe second to the Graveman Mariners trade, which was weird just because the Mariners, obviously, as we saw like late in the year, like we're still in playoff contention. Like that was just a weird move and one that I didn't necessarily like, especially when the White Sox already had Liam Hendricks. But now you've got Craig Kimbrell kind of being this 7th, 8th inning setup guy, when really he could be a number 1 closer for about 27 of 30 teams.
Braves.
There we go. So I think it's a weird pitching situation for the White Sox, but really, I mean, they're offensively they're going to be fine. I really think we'll see some fireworks this series.
I think the one thing that it boils down to in the White Sox Astros series is how well Giolito does.
Yeah.
Because if I had to take a guess, I would. Who's the Astros number 1 this year?
So game 1 is going to be McCullers.
Okay.
And he's been lights out recently. I mean, this has been his best year, I would say.
Yeah.
Greinke injured, so he'll be out of the pen at least for the first series. We'll see about after that, but I don't think they're planning on him being in the main postseason rotation. So I would ask you guys, like between Lance Lynn and Giolito, who do you go 1-2?
I probably take Lynn first.
Yeah, I'd go Lynn first. He has the playoff experience. He seems to have that. I go Lynn Giolito 1-2.
Yeah.
I like that.
But I wonder if they're going to pitch Rodon second and Giolito third, unless that's already been announced and I don't know it yet.
No, they haven't. No, they haven't announced their rotation. Yeah. I mean, in my mind, if they started Lynn, which I think I agree is probably the better move. I mean, he's going to give you a classic Lance Lynn stat line, probably like 115 80, pitches,
80
sinkers. Maybe like 7 2/3 innings if he does well. Give up 2 runs probably, and I mean, I did see a stat on MLB.com that Lance Lynn is 3-6 with an ERA of almost 5 when he plays at Minute Maid Park. So, I mean, that's one thing. Giolito has an ERA of like 1.6 at Minute Maid Park. So,
I gotta ask, on a scale of juices, is Minute Maid or Tropicana better? Because Tropicana is objectively the worst baseball field in America.
I would venture the world. Yeah. I mean, one time, so I used to work for the Astros, and somebody with their lunch brought in Tropicana orange juice one time, and it was not well received. We just had to switch it out for them. Got to be a company man.
And their baseball field sucks.
Yeah, basically falling apart. Those players have never seen the sun. But Minute Maid is underrated, I think, as a playoff venue. I mean, it gets real loud in there. Definite home crowd. It should be exciting. But that kind of brings us to the terrible afternoon slate. Like playing the early playoff game, it's brutal. It's just brutal.
Yeah, and that game starts at what, like 12 o'clock? Right? Like 12 o'clock my time, at least 12 o'clock local.
I mean, I currently have it pulled up, and it doesn't have the start times yet for ESPN. ESPN hasn't updated it yet.
They're definitely out. I think it's 1 p.m. I think it's a 3 o'clock game local.
Yeah, they start at 3:07 Central, and then on Thursday, and then Friday it's at 1:07 Central.
Wow,
that was the Friday game that I saw.
Yeah, Braves play at 3:37 that day.
Yeah, the Braves play at 4:37. Weird.
So maybe last word on that series, but like for each of you guys, who do you think is going to be the X factor? Like if there was one difference making player on each side who needs to perform for them to win the series, who do you think?
Is that outside your typical name guy?
Not necessarily.
Okay. Astros wise, I say Alvarez. White Sox wise, I want to say Tim Anderson, but I feel like our expectations for him are so high. I feel like it's probably Grandal since he just got back.
I was going to say Grandal. I mean, I think he's probably going to slot right back in at fourth. It's kind of a similar situation. Not, he's no Alvarez when it comes to bombs, but like it's kind of who's going to get the RBIs. Basically,
he's probably a better contact hitter than Alvarez, right?
I could see. Yeah, I'll give you that. Probably.
Yeah, I'd say for the White Sox, I'm going to go in Luis Robert. I think I've watched a lot of the White Sox this year. One reason I've watched Robert a lot is because he's on my fantasy team.
There we go. There we go.
Rolling, man, when he's rolling, the White Sox are really good. And the way he plays really well in the outfield. He can hit. I think he's a monster. So I think Luis Robert from the White Sox, but I'm going McCullers for the Astros because he's their number one. So if he doesn't have a good start, I think the Astros are very good. I think their offense is loaded. But I do think that they have a little bit of a gap in the rotation. If McCullers isn't the guy that they need and he can't go well in game 1, and then if they were to put him back in game 4, game 5, I think that could really hurt him. So I'm going McCullers as the X factor for the Astros.
Yeah, totally agree with that. I think, game 1 is going to be super important for Houston because their second starter is going to be Framber Valdez, the one lefty starter that they'll probably use. And I mean, I love the guy. I think he's awesome, but he doesn't have the playoff experience that McCullers does, or Greinke, should Greinke get to start. So I agree. I think McCullers, especially like you said, if he has to come back for a game 5, he could win or lose the series right there. And honestly, I'll stay with the pitching and go Giolito. I think when he eventually starts, especially if it's game 2, I mean, that's going to be a mismatch really between him and Valdez, at least. But, he's got such a higher ceiling than Valdez. Valdez's curveball is insane, but I mean, Giolito's, he's a no-hitter guy. He can his ceiling and just what he can do on a day's work is just it's through the roof.
All right, Patrick, 2 questions. First, what second baseman in the MLB right now would you take over Ozzie Albies? Objectively.
I mean, Ozzie Albies this year. I mean, just or how
this
he's playing.
Year.
Yeah, just
this year. Yeah.
Gosh.
If you say Altuve, it's okay. I won't.
No, I really wouldn't. I mean, what's his face on the Blue Jays? He had a great year. Am I blanking on his name?
Simeon.
Yeah, Simeon. Yeah. That's a possibility.
That's probably the one we forgot, Alexi.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Yeah, Simeon. I mean, he was. I mean, he had a big time year, All-Star year. I mean, that's the one guy I would probably think of right off the bat. Obviously, Altuve can get it done. I mean, he's clutch, and he knows the pitches ahead of time. So it's that's a.
The jokes write themselves.
Yeah, they really do. How can you not pick him? But yeah, no, I think Ozzie Albies, he's got to do it, especially with no Acuna and no Zuna. Somebody's got to step up, and credit to the Braves. And I'm sure y'all have already covered that game, but I do love that team.
Well, Jake shared earlier in our group chat this MLB.com power ranking of the 50 players in the playoffs, and the Braves second baseman was nowhere to be found on the list whatsoever. So I don't know how. I should go back and look to see how many second basemen were on the list. I'm assuming not that many, but
I assume Altuve's on there.
It was just by all the playoff
games.
Colton Wong was on the list, Patrick. That's all you should probably know.
Yikes! Yeah, I don't know about that.
And then who do you have in Braves Brewers?
I mean, honestly, I think that's a great series and one that deserves to be in prime time. That's to me a better series probably than the Giants over the wild card. Just pure
that's
baseball.
Great for my ticket buying experience.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think I would have to take the Brewers, but again, I don't see it going any less than 5 games. I just think, I'm pleasantly surprised at how the Braves have performed with, losing their 2 top guys, arguably. But they still have the arms to do it, and they'll definitely give the Brewers a series. But I think the Brewers could be a dark horse World Series team.
That was actually my World Series pick prior to the Braves playing them.
And I like it. I think it's a good pick.
But I recant my pick now that Devin Williams is out, which I think is fair because he's a top 5 reliever in baseball this year, probably.
Yeah. I think that's a fair, audible to your Your predictions? I mean, it's going to make me really, really happy if the Dodgers get bounced tomorrow. Like, just because that's just, I mean, and not that I don't hate the Dodgers players. Like really, I like they got a lot of likable guys, and like it'd be a fun team to watch for the whole month of October, just to see what that pitching staff can do. But like that would be so cool if like a team just basically got screwed by the playoff system and their season got cut way short, you know, because a Cardinals team got hot.
Well, I asked Jake and Alexi earlier on the podcast. But no, I want to ask you, of course. Do you think the MLB should look at changing the wild card game? You know, as like, hey, it should be best out of 3, or they should change the standings of some sorts, which is by playoff record instead of where it's, you know, where it's at right now by winner of division, or just this is an anomaly of the year, just leave it how it is. It doesn't mean normally you don't have 2 100-win teams in the same division.
So I'm not in favor in general of like reactionary like rulings or rule changes. Like the NFL is the worst about that. Like there's one terrible pass interference call in a playoff game, so they implement a new pass interference rule like immediately, you know. And baseball is bad about it too, like with juicing the balls, unjuicing the balls, you know, try the rule, stick with the rule immediately. Like, I don't know. I just don't
Rob
like
Manfred straight up fixing up the overtime rule so that way the game gets over quicker.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Although there's no runner on second for the postseason.
Correct.
Which
Thank
is nice.
God.
I'm glad they did
again.
away with that.
It should never be
Which-
again.
Yeah. I
Not
hate
in
it.
the
I
regular
mean,
season.
although honestly, like if you're gonna have the rule in the regular season, it should be a rule in the postseason as well. Now, do I hate the rule and glad that we get some baseball without it? Yes, but it doesn't make any sense.
I'm actually okay with the 7-inning rule. I think it actually makes sense.
The 7-inning doubleheader.
Yeah, when it like I wouldn't say that I'm like, yeah, I love it. But if I look in comparison to, let's start with the runner on second, arm-wise, the 7-inning rule makes sense.
Yeah, I mean it's the teams probably love it, you know, like the players themselves probably love it. So I mean, as far as the playoff format, like it would be very like baseball and very like professional sports in general to have a 106-win team lose in the wild card game and be bounced from the playoffs, and then the next year immediately just redo the whole thing so that never happens again. Like that's the kind of reactionary rule making that I don't like. And honestly, I would be more in favor of just one wild card team that gets in. Like go back to before the wild card game and just have one, you know, the one best non-division winner get in. Obviously, they're never going to do that because money talks and you need that wild card game for the TV money. But that's, in my opinion, the most like competitively balanced way to do it. I could see a 2 out of 3 game series because that's even more money, but I wouldn't love it.
I told Calvin and Alexi, I think they should just seed it 1 through 6.
And have the bottom 2 play in a 1 game?
No. The bottom 2 play in a 5 game.
On a 5, yeah. I got to be honest. There are 162 games in baseball. Either shorten the regular season and expand the postseason, right? Like, which don't do that. Like 162 is so easy to remember. You got to just keep it 162.
But what about 150? Make it 150 and call it a day.
But this is what so granted, you guys all know this. Like I'm a bigger NBA fan than I am MLB fan. And this is what annoyed me about the NBA last year is that they decided to do something very similar where they had 2 extra teams get in on a 1-game playoff thing, the 9th and 10th seed, and then they shortened the regular season. So every team was playing a couple less games, and some teams, you know, 1 through 6 seeds weren't playing any extra games. I was in favor of that because it's a COVID year. It's like, you know what? Like we know all this stuff screwed up, 72 games because you got teams flying all over the country, playing back-to-backs, etc. But then this season, don't do that again. Like just cut it out. If you're the 8th seed, cool, but make the regular season matter. That's my only point, right? We talk about MLB, NBA. I'm sure NHL is looking at it too. Like everyone's looking at expanding the regular season to put more money in their pocket. Cool.
Yeah.
But now you're making it where games don't matter as much because of that, right? I mean, how many times are we going to have, LeBron James and 6 other guys sit because it's whatever game. I mean, Greg Popovich with the Spurs did that all the time, where he would get fined or something bad would happen because on a Saturday night primetime game on ESPN, Tim Duncan, Mon Ginobili, and Tony Parker would sit. So, and listen, MLB doesn't really do that. It's a much different game, right? Your guys aren't running up and down the court the whole time. It's a different type of tiring out, etc. But make the games matter for what they are.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times do you have it where the Dodgers and the Giants are going to win 100 plus games, or just any two teams in the same division are going to win 100 plus games together? It just doesn't happen. And yeah, if the Dodgers lose tomorrow night, we will all be hearing on ESPN for the next 3 to 7 weeks about how they should expand it to at least a 3-game series. But why? Just because we want the Dodgers to get even another chance?
Yeah.
I think this is what's fun about tomorrow night. I think this is what's fun about baseball, is that you play 162 and yet it still comes down to 1.
That's what I like about the Major League Baseball playoffs so much, is that it's hard to make the playoffs. If you don't win your division, there's 2 spots, and if you don't make those 2 spots, you don't make it. I think in other leagues you got 8 teams that make it, so yeah, it's almost half the league, if not more sometimes. I mean, I like that. Major League Baseball, make it hard to get in the playoffs. Don't expand it to more teams and get look at last year. We were letting I know last year's COVID, so give the exception to that, but we had the Marlins in the playoffs. Come on, the Marlins were not a playoff team, especially in a 60-game season. Of course, that was the total wipe, but I think it's cool that you play 162. You get the top 6 teams. Yeah, the Dodgers are playing the wild card, but guess what? They also have the highest payroll, and they should have been the first place team in the National League West. But guess what? The Giants beat them, and now they're sitting in the wild card. They could lose tomorrow, so I like it.
Yeah, it's like Alexi said. It's hard for me to feel any sympathy, especially for this year. It's we're all college football fans. We can sit here and complain that TCU or Baylor didn't get in 2014, right? Whatever the first year of the playoff was, over the 4 seed that was Ohio State. But Ohio State won. And it's if you're a Dodgers fan, sit there and complain. I don't care. But the Giants beat you in the 1st seed in the best division in baseball with a bunch of AAA guys.
That's the bottom line.
And they won they won the head-to-head. They won 10 out of 9 games. 10 out of 19, excuse me.
Good luck naming the entire Giants rotation.
Seriously.
Yep.
I mean,
Kevin Guzman's their number
Gosman,
1, or Gosman or whatever.
Gosman and Cueto.
And I can do Logan Webb because he hit a home run the other day
and
absolutely annihilated the Braves.
DeSclafani, that guy was in the rotation. Yep. But, I mean, you're talking about you're comparing their rotation to the Dodgers, and on paper and their lineup. I mean, it's top to bottom. The Dodgers are blow that away, and they still finish.
It's second. An all-star team. It's an all-star team.
Yeah,
it is.
It is. Yeah, especially with Scherzer and Turner.
When you trade for Scherzer and Turner, and they still couldn't even finish higher than them.
There's that meme where there's the guy. It's that's how I feel. You're the Dodgers. You're the reason that we might have a salary cap next year. Legitimately.
Yep.
The Dodgers are $100 million over the second place team in terms of payroll. And I'm supposed to feel sympathy that you lost in a 1-game playoff against the Cardinals?
I mean, that's why I think that every single person watching the game tomorrow night is going to be rooting for the Cardinals, to be honest. Just because it brings us back to that. But it brings well, and I know your family's Reds fans, all that type of stuff. But don't you like the idea of the underdog? Because for years, right, I didn't grow up as a Boston Red Sox fan whatsoever. But if someone's asking me who am I choosing in the rivalry between Red Sox and Yankees, it's the Red Sox, because the Yankees historically have the highest payroll in MLB and just buy everyone, right? So that's why it's Red Sox.
Yankees Red Sox is Duke, North Carolina.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Except they play each other 19 times a year instead of 2. So I don't know if that makes it better or worse, or bigger or smaller. But yeah,
can we?
Same deal.
Hold on. Let me do percentages real quick. Quick maths. Teacher maths.
All right.
What do I do? Okay. So
It's
19 is 11%. 19 out of 162 is 11%. How many college basketball games did they play?
Calvin?
30?
In a regular
30?
season?
No, it's more.
Regular season.
Yeah,
Regular
regular
season?
They play
Without-
1-1. It's
No,
just
no, no,
without
no. He's
big-
saying total games. Total games.
oh
They play
yeah.
like
So
7.
including including.
Because there's
I mean, if you're including the postseason tournaments, like 34. If not, it's like
no just regular
28.
season.
Teams
Yeah,
usually go
regular
19
season.
and 12. Because remember, 19 and 12 is usually a record that gets some teams in the tournament. About 31.
So 30, 31.
Well,
We'll do 31.
It's probably like 25 because those have some non-conference games in there too.
But that
So
counts.
okay.
That's
So
like
yeah.
them playing,
Yeah.
non-conference game or
So-
interleague games or something.
But regardless, the Yankees are playing the Red Sox 11% of the time.
A
For their
lot when you're
games.
playing 162 games.
Yeah, it's a lot. And it's like you go back and look at some of the Braves games. I mean, there were legit, and I'm saying this biasly, and I'll admit it, but there were 2 games. Alex Bohm at the beginning of the year for the Phillies did not touch home plate against the Braves. And then later in the year when the Braves played the Yankees, they called Freddie Freeman out at home plate, and he touched home plate. And I'm not saying the Braves necessarily would have won those games, but both games were decided by 1 run. And so that's 2 games that were decided by blown calls. And they were blown calls. Anybody can go look it up and tell me that he did or didn't touch home plate. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. Because we're just watching it as a replay, not like something that actually matters. And so it's like if you go and look at, I don't know, a 7th inning strike call against Nolan Arenado where there's 2 guys on and someone calls a 1-0 pitch a strike, that impacts the game in baseball. It does. It impacts an at-bat. It impacts a game. So it's hard with baseball, and that's why that's the only problem I have with the 1-game playoff. Like, yeah, everybody knows what it is going into it, but I do feel like they should do best of 3.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I mean, especially when you've got, a typical 4-man rotation. You could still use your top 3 guys, then have a rest, and then maybe go 4-1, in the next series. Like there's ways you could go into a 5-game series afterwards and still use your top guys. Also, if you guys don't follow umpire scorecards,
I do.
on Twitter,
I do.
great
That's why I
follow.
brought that up.
Yeah. Seeing like how, like you say, like a 1-0 pitch in the 7th inning, like see what the expected run. What am I trying to say? The run differential. How it was affected by one specific pitch, or like how one blown strike call affects it. It's very, very cool.
Yeah, and I've looked at a lot of the Braves ones, and it's like I'm watching the game, and it'll be bases loaded, 1 out, and it'll be a 2-0, and then they'll get one that's clearly not a strike based on the whatchamacallit, the rectangle on the field, but they'll call it a strike, and you're like, well, that changes in at bat. Like, yeah, it'd be great if we could have Alex Reyes come in and pitch every single time and walk in 5 runs, but we don't.
You don't.
Sorry, Alex. I had to.
Oh, you're good, man. Don't worry.
Dr. Shade, the Cardinals fan. Well, hey, as we wrap this podcast up a little bit here, want to ask all 3 of you guys, I guess, but Yankees Red Sox is the game happening right now. Stop the 7-2 outs. Red Sox are up 4-1. Do the Red Sox and or Yankees have a chance of beating the Rays in the next? If you're predicting, who do you got next series? Depending on who wins this game, either way. Jake, I'll ask you first.
I actually, and I'm still saying this, I thought the Yankees were going to win. To be honest, I thought Garrett Cole's probably going to have a better game. Am I upset? Absolutely not. I think it's absolutely hilarious. But do I think they have a chance against the Rays? The Red Sox, I don't think so. I don't think their starting pitching is good enough. I think their bats are. but I don't think their starting pitching is good enough. I like just straight up. So I would have to take if we're going to go down the line and do predictions for each series. I would take the Rays to go into the NLCS.
All right, Alexi, what about you?
I think the Rays. I mean, you guys all know it. They're good. They've been the best team. But I'm going to go with an upset here. I think it's the winner of this game, which looks like the Red Sox, it may be. I'll go with the Red Sox, or like I said, whoever wins, the Yankees come back to win. I'll take whoever wins this game to beat the Rays and to upset them in the first round. I just think their starting pitching is skeptical to me. They're throwing McClanahan and Shane Baz, whatever his name is. He's a rookie who's only pitched like 2 or 3 starts. I don't know. I think that's I don't know. I hate putting guys out there who haven't had as much playoff experience, especially a pitcher, and I think that could bite them a bit. And I know they only let them go like 4 or 5 innings, and then they bring in the bullpen. But I think this year might bite them. This year, I think I'm going to go with the upset in the first round. Red Sox rookies over the Rays.
Do you think they'll pull him in the 5th inning, like last year?
Who?
Blake Snell.
Oh.
Won't be able to since he's not on the team anymore.
I hate it. All these analytical guys. Oh, you can only go 5 innings. Can't go third time around because they've already seen you twice. The guy was mowing down the Dodgers all game. Like, there's no reason they should have taken him out.
So dumb.
Stupid. Like, yeah. He has 80 pitches. Watch out, his arm might fall off.
Yeah, I honestly kind of disagreed with the call tonight. Like when they pulled Nathan Eovaldi. He pitched 71 pitches tonight, 5 1/3, gave up 1 run, struck out 8. Like, he's got way more in him. Like that, I thought they pulled him too early. Now it appears to be paying off, but like I don't know. I feel like it could have gone another inning or two. So yeah, I generally think they need to leave the starters in longer. I think as far as I don't think either of these teams beat the Rays in a 5-game series, although it might take 5 games. I mean, the Rays are like the least fun to watch team that is a 1 seed in their league. They just have a bunch of guys. It's almost a cliche at this point. They don't pay their guys anything. They're not exactly superstars.
They're all left-handed.
Yeah, they lost their best pitcher, Blake Snell, and then what's his face, super tall. Tyler Glasnow, not around, obviously, like injured as hell, but still they're able to do it, and you got to respect that. So I think, I do think the Rays. I do think the Rays go to the CS against the Astros.
Yeah, and I will say the Red Sox do have. Or if the Red Sox are to win, they do have an off day tomorrow. So pulling Eovaldi, while I agree with Patrick, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But like, if you're just thinking about bullpen rest, I guess it might make a little sense.
And they can get Eovaldi back for probably game 3?
Yeah. Today, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah, what's Saturday?
A game they're guaranteed to play.
Yeah. Actually. Would they start Thursday? Yeah.
Sunday? Yeah, it would give it away. Yeah, it might be. No, it'd be Saturday, right?
You have to think they're saving lefty Chris Sale versus the Rays.
Yeah. Chris Sale probably would go game 1. Maybe. And they also have Eduardo Rodriguez. He's a lefty too, so they might like that matchup.
Yeah.
All right. Well, last question of the night then, just real quick. Cards, Dodgers. No matter who wins, are you taking in either of them over the Giants? 107+ win Giants or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, if we get by the Dodgers, 100%. I'm taking the Cardinals over the Giants. Give me I've said this the whole way. I knew we were going to play one of them, but I wanted the Dodgers more in a wild card game because obviously they're going to be easier to beat in a 1-game playoff rather than a 5-game series. So I will gladly take the Giants in 5 games. And I think we can knock them off. Will it be hard? Obviously, their Giants have been amazing this year. But I think if they get past the Dodgers, they can definitely beat the Giants. So I will say yes, over the Giants in 5.
Jake, what about you?
I already said the Cardinals. Yes, I think the Cardinals will beat the Giants. So I think it'll be Braves Cardinals NLCS. And I'm sorry, Alexi, I think the Braves starting pitching is just a little bit better than the Cardinals. Call me biased, I'll take it. I don't care.
Sorry. Hey, I'm going to take it.
But
I'm going to be sorry.
I think they lose. I think the Braves lose in the World Series.
Oh, you're going all the way here. We're just
we
past
have to
lose the World Series to the Astros. Is that what you're about to say?
World Series predictions. We got to.
Diana, cue the Trash King band. No, she's in the bedroom. No. I think the Braves lose to the White Sox in the World Series.
White Sox to the World Series. All right,
Patrick. Cool. I'm just asking. You got it. Dodgers or Cardinals over the Giants?
I do think the Astros win the pennant. I'll just get that out of the way. But I think I'll go. It's a little chalk, but on paper, the Dodgers should beat the Cardinals. Scherzer's been near unhittable, and I do think the Dodgers win in 5 against the Giants. So I'd probably go Dodgers, Brewers in the NLCS. And as much as I would love to see an outside team who doesn't usually make a lot of noise, I think I would still go Dodgers, Astros rematch.
All right. Well, I mean, in the day, I'm going to be, I guess, the only person to choose the other orange and black team. I'm going to say the Giants. I mean, whatever magic they've got cooking right now, whatever Chris Bryant's got left in the tank to try to will up some enthusiasm for that team. Evan Longoria still, of course, the Giants. And I mean, he's had some postseason success, granted not the greatest. But I'll say Giants beat the Dodgers or Cardinals, whoever makes it out. Over a 5-game series, if you won 107 games, you've got to be doing something right. And then in postseason, though, I think it'll be a Giants race. It just won't be a very highly watched game. Highly watched postseason.
God, that's
the Giants are
MLB.
Great, but
MLB's worst nightmare.
Oh my God, that would be awful for them. Yes,
I would actually love it.
Brewers. I think Brewers.
Oh yeah, maybe Brewers Rays.
I think Brewers. Oh man.
Yeah,
Brewers Braves might be the I don't know. I've had a hard time. Not Braves, but
if it's not the Dodgers against the Rays, I feel like anything against the Rays would be low rating.
Yeah, Brewers. I think Brewers Rays is what everyone goes. Oh, please no.
Yeah.
I would ironically love that.
Yeah, no, exactly. As a pure baseball series, forget about it as a television show, but just seeing good baseball. Brewers Rays would be a good time.
I mean, if there's Game 7 of the CS and we've got Astros versus Rays, I could definitely see Joe. I could see Joe West definitely favoring the Astros for once. I mean, and then flying the next night to go umpire the
Joe
West Game 7 and give the Giants benefit out too. Yeah, I mean, just absolutely saying.
You reminded me about Joe West. He is going to be behind home plate tomorrow night in the Cardinals game. So.
Oh God!
Really? Yeah. Can't wait for that one.
All right, so really anything can happen.
Really,
this really is.
It'll be the wildest of wild cards.
TV episode of Joe West making his calls, and
it's like Big Brother but terrible.
Yeah.
The strike zone is hey, you thought it was here? Psych! I'm a blind old man.
Yeah. And then just for fun tonight, the strike zone, it won't be a rectangle. It'll be in the shape of a star or something.
It'll be in the shape of Cody Bellinger.
Right.
Yeah. The hatred I have for Cody Bellinger is deep.
Well, he sucks.
I love Cody Bellinger because he has permanent high face.
He hit his 10th home run of the season against the Padres. I just want to let everyone know. The Padres were up against the Dodgers, and we're not going to lose 6 games in a row to them. And yet Cody Bellinger decided to homer. So just a great time overall.
Put him at first base in Muncie. I love it.
Hey, Calvin, who am I?
Cody Bellinger? Or you can't see the screen. I don't know what to put in
there. If he shows up that high tomorrow, strike him out 4 times. Freaking bum.
Great call.
I do love that Muncie's out because that, like you were saying earlier, Jake, that is a big piece of their lineup. So now if you put Bellinger at first, takes him out of center field. I like that a lot.
And Kershaw probably out too.
Yeah, they said he's out for the year officially.
There you go.
Yep.
So Kershaw with a better batting average than Max Scherzer in the whole year. Wild.
Fun facts.
Fun facts here. Well, thank you guys so much for joining here on the latest episode of the CGA Tour podcast. Thank you for listening live on YouTube or Facebook, whatever happened there too. Not really sure. Don't put in a comment, so we'll see you later. But thanks again. Follow out the CGA Tour on Twitter and Instagram for more, and we will catch you guys again soon. All right. Okay, I think if I click in broadcast, it'll still